Hey, it's Carrie Flatla here for this week's Friday Fire at Remax Real Estate Lethbridge and carrieflatla.com. What happens once you get an accepted offer on your house? Usually the minute we get that last initial in a negotiation, the first question that the homeowner says to me is, what do we do now, Carrie? So first and biggest thing to know is once you have an accepted conditional offer, and most offers in this market are conditional, subject to financing, home inspection, and sometimes some other conditions such as the buyer's sale of home or subject to viewing and approval by the buyer. In the case of the pandemic, once in a while the buyers can't be here right away, that kind of thing. So when you have a conditional offer, the deal's not done and we still have work to do. Usually conditions take 10 to 14 days, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. If you're in a competitive offer situation, then those conditions might have been tightened up or maybe less conditions on the offer. We are seeing that on some properties right now on my side of the desk. But there are some things you need to be aware of and some decisions you have to make. So the first decision is, do we want to continue marketing the property for you during the conditional period? And you actually have choices here as a homeowner, and there's paperwork to sign in regard to that. Generally speaking, during the conditional period, we recommend you keep the house actively listed on Realtor.ca and other syndication sites, and we continue to push that listing out into the market to get maximum exposure to potential buyers. Because what if the pending offer falls apart? It's rare to see with our team that happens, but it is always a risk. So the buyer may not get their financing or something like that. So you want to have maximum exposure. Now that being said, some folks, depending on their personal situation, may not want any more showings during the conditional period. And believe it or not, sometimes with a hot property during conditional period, buyers will still want to see that house. So another decision you have to make. You also have the option not to disclose the existence of a conditional offer at all, even if someone asks. So there's a whole bunch of strategy around what to do after you have an accepted offer. But just know that you have the option to have us continue marketing that home and pushing that out to the market as much as possible and maximizing your exposure to as many potential buyers as possible while the offer is pending. And it is generally what we recommend, barring some unforeseen circumstances or a personal situation where you don't want that additional exposure. It can depend on the strength of the existing pending offer as well. Then you have to think about the conditions on the offer that the buyer may have put in, and you may have a condition on the offer as a seller. It just sort of depends. But the most common types of offers we see are financing and home inspection. And once in a while, we'll see inspection conditions not put into an offer, especially in a competitive offer situation. And believe it or not, we are seeing quite a few situations right now with multiple offers. If your home is positioned correctly for this market, you can see more than one offer on the table, and that is good for you as the homeowner. Just ask me if you have questions about how that can happen. Generally, we will be waiting for a deposit, and that will have a deadline on an offer. So deposit from the buyer goes into the trust account here at the brokerage to be held in trust until closing day. Lots of discussion around what deposits are for and legalities around deposits, but that's for another Friday Fire. Inspection condition, this is one that can cause some stress. Because an inspection condition generally is written subject to buyer approval, but there are different ways we can negotiate that condition as well. The inspection, you have to get through that process. Usually an inspector will come into the home, do their inspection, and then review with the buyers. That can cause some questions from the buyers depending on what they find. We find that oftentimes homeowners aren't aware of everything happening with the house. So one more reason to do that home maintenance, make sure that you have a contractor, licensed roofer, get up on that roof and check it once in a while. We have lots of hail and hot, sunny days, wind, all those kinds of things in Lethbridge. It's hard on the roof. Get your furnace checked every 6 to 12 months. Do all that maintenance. You will rest a lot easier when that inspection time comes along. And then of course, we're waiting for buyer financing. And financing is still one of the more common reasons that deals fall apart at the last minute. So when we get that offer, you want to know that your realtor is screening the buyers through their realtor to find out where they're at with their financing. There is no reason in today's age that buyers should be writing offers without a pre-approval. It is quick and easy to do with a mortgage broker. So you have to get through inspection, financing. The buyer will usually submit 1 or 2 deposits, and then there could be other conditions like sale of buyer's home. Buyer's conditions are for the benefit of the buyer, so it's up to the buyer to meet their conditions. If you have any questions about that, just let me know, 382-7335, or give us a visit at carrieflatla.com. Just know that once we get an accepted conditional offer on your home, our work as your realtor is far from over, and we still have to get you to closing day on time. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you for next Friday Fire.